Welcome to Married AF. We are your hosts, Brooke and Randall Fowler. On this show, we discuss the topics that really matter.
Like big veiny cocks and our favorite TV shows.
So pull up a chair at our kitchen table and hang out.
While I bulldog my nuts. Hello, friends. How are you?
Aloha.
We are your hosts of Married AF.
Yes.
I'm Randall.
Well, hello there. I'm Brooke.
Feels like we've been gone a long time again. I think it's because we did we didn't do a very long one. Well, I guess it ended up being pretty long with Muddy.
Was that just this past Friday?
Yeah, that we talked to him.
Yeah.
And for those that are going to be listening to this, hoping or expecting it to be Jody's episode from Po' Boys, that's not happening because we're holding that one.
Yeah, that one's our one for when that we're going to release while we're at the beach. I've already decided that. No, I don't know what.
He put out a tweet today. I think he was just expecting it to be the next one and was saying that, you guys be ready to check me out on Married AF.
Oh, whoops. I thought we told him we were going to hold it till we were at the beach.
I don't know, but there's a reason for that, and the reason is we know it will do well. We'll be away, so we won't be able to promote the shit out of it. And
well, we'll still promote as much as we can.
I mean, neither one of us will. I know me won't be paying as much attention to my Twitter.
Yeah.
I hope at the beach.
Yeah, true.
And I doesn't need it with Jody. Everybody knows Jody.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty easy one to just throw back out. That's what I'm saying. It's nothing. The episode's great.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
Nothing
it's
wrong
fun.
with it. It's just waiting for...
And it'll be like a fun little treasure once we release it, because when, I like to go back and listen to our episodes after I post them mainly to make sure it sounds okay and that it flows okay and all that business. But, cause, they're funny. And then now this one will be so many weeks away from when we recorded it. It'll be like a whole new experience because I won't have just done it.
Oh yeah. No.
Like the day before.
It'll be great. And it'll be a glorious release upon the world. They will be, I'm sure, happy with it. Jody was awesome. Mm-hmm. I'm sure we'll have him on again soon, but I just want to give a heads up for if people are expecting that to be the one. This one is actually a really good one that we've had on the books for a long time is Amy Lyle. She's an author. She writes screenplays, books. She just released a book a little while back.
What were those noises you were making? You were going...
Book of Failures. I don't know. Book of Failures. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny. She's a comedy writer from Atlanta.
Stand-up comedian.
Mm-hmm. And she seems like a pretty nice lady. She just reminds me of like some of my sister's friends and stuff. She's
hilarious. The way I picture her in my head after, researching her a little and watching some of her stuff is kind of a Kristen Wiig.
Mm-hmm.
Like Molly Shannon-y.
Like a mom version.
Yeah. She's just...
oh, here she's messaging me on Skype now.
Oh. Yeah, she seems awesome. She's very talented, great writer. Highly recommend downloading we listen to the book because who reads, but to check it out. And, we're happy to support the local folks.
Absolutely.
Here in Atlanta, but we got a lot of good questions for her, and I'm excited because this is somebody that, she accepted the invite a while back. We've had it on the books, so it's been marked on the calendar. And we're going to put her through the gauntlet.
the Married AF gauntlet.
My only concern is she mentions in the book she doesn't use profanities very much.
Well, she didn't write them.
Sorry.
She didn't write them in her book because she said her mom or her grandma, I can't remember which one, would be just appalled if they saw. I think she does cuss, just not.
Yeah, and I want to ask her that.
Not like us.
Yeah, I want to ask her that. And so I hope when she listens to this episode and hears the Well, she's listened to some other episodes, but the big veiny cocks always concerns me. That's a rough.
It's an abrasive
first impression.
Yeah, it's an abrasive opening, but that's kind of like if you can't get past that, then our show is not for you.
No, that's absolutely right.
So,
it is a wonderful barometer.
It is like, oh, okay, maybe these are my people, but I don't know what you're doing, baby.
Grabbing my drink.
Oh, you looked panicked for a second. I don't know what was happening.
No, I was grabbing my drink.
You were doing hand gestures that I wasn't familiar with.
And if you guys listened last week, you know that Muddy has been on assignment, or Dr. Muddington, on assignment at Bonnaroo. Sounds like he has successfully made it home or on the way home.
Have you received any audio clips from him?
And
he's fired.
I haven't received anything yet.
Fired.
I did receive some photographic evidence.
Muddy.
But I'm highly concerned that he didn't go out and record Spunk Lube promos like he promised on this national.
If he didn't,
podcast.
I'm going to need him to acquire that romper from Dr. Evil Tits for you to wear that had full male genitalia drawn on the front.
The smallest.
It was a little tiny pee-pee.
Yes.
And it was drawn on the front of a man's like Dickies type romper.
Like
shorts,
a Michael Myers, but light colored.
But shorts and short sleeves instead of long sleeves and long pants like Michael Myers. And the little full, like, it was like cock and balls, and it was a little high. I don't know if it's maybe because the size was off on Evil Tits, but
I don't know.
Looked like it was up by his belly button, but it was pretty funny. That is.
Yeah, I was just happy that Sturgill Simpson blew the place out. Eminem ended up having some controversy in his
Really? I saw somebody
headline.
Mallory, the girl that was taking all the pictures and stuff for Gold. She posted a video of Eminem, like part of when he was performing "Lose Yourself," and it looked like it was fucking awesome. But
No,
I mean,
the controversy was he was doing one of his songs, and it had
was it like "Fuck the
sound
President" or something?
of live gunfire.
Come on.
And people in the crowd freaked out.
Yes.
Because, I mean,
Rightfully so.
nowadays everybody's getting shot at these places.
Come on, Eminem. Jesus.
And there's some videos some girls took that I saw where they were literally like jamming along, and then next thing they're taking cover.
Because it wasn't even
freaking
like
out.
probably
Just, if you remember his music, it always had background shit.
right, but come on, dude, you gotta.
And so he's getting blasted pretty good for he's got to know better than that.
You
I don't
have
care
to
what
know
nobody
better
says.
than that.
It's just
That's
you
got-
can't do that now after Vegas.
No,
For
that's
sure.
everybody. That's in every big outdoor event like that. That's. I mean, it's a shame, but that's in the back of everybody's mind. That's there.
Yeah. So, but
Jeez
Sturgill Simpson
Louise.
supposedly stole the show. Of
sure
course, he's a killer. And
Yeah.
the best. Can't
God,
wait
that-
to see him live one day. He's the tits.
Is he gonna come to Atlanta sometime, where we can go see him? Shit.
I'm sure. But speaking of the tits, the new trailer for the new Halloween, we saw that. It's the first horror movie that has intrigued me in years.
The trailer gave me chills.
It fucking looks awesome.
I
love the whole story of it and the way they're kind of just, it's skipping to where it like took place, 30 years after the original.
Yeah,
where
Jamie.
he tried to kill her.
Jamie Lee Curtis, all up in the mix.
She's waiting to hunt him down now, is what
Yeah.
my impression from the trailer was, which is
Yep.
fucking great. Like she's
She's
begging
always
him.
been a badass, like in all the follow-up ones.
for sure. But this one, she's old. She's waiting. She goes chasing after him.
Yeah. No, it's badass. Yeah. They made her look old, though, because Jamie Lee Curtis looks damn good for her. She's in her 60s, for Christ's sake, and
She likes to promote that yogurt.
she
Keep
looks
herself
fucking fantastic, though.
regular.
But in this movie, they make her look a little bit
Well, she's lived
haggard.
a tortured life,
Right.
of course.
appropriately so.
Having
but,
been part of a large murder from her own brother.
Right.
But the best part of the trailer is where she's walking through the house and she's calling for him.
Yes. Oh,
Usually people are hiding from him.
That's where I got chills, I think.
She's calling him out.
Yeah. It looks
I'm into
pretty
watching.
rad.
I would never watch horror movies, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah. That would be a good one to go see in the movie theater and have me scream, and because I will.
Oh yeah,
in the middle of a movie theater with a bunch of people because I don't give a fuck.
I don't know if you saw Rachel's tweet today about our Muddy episode.
I don't think so.
Like, so much fodder in this episode. Next week we need to talk about, and she gave a list. I mean, she's joking. I think she's bagging on Muddy because they go back and forth.
What? I'm going to need a definition.
Filler. It's almost like, and she's right. We were just shooting the shit with Muddy and recorded it.
Yeah.
On the phone.
Well, that was the intent, really, of that episode.
100%. But the funny part was her, and you have to go and look at the tweets and see her back and forth with Dr. Muddington. It's fucking funny because they can both give it and receive it.
Oh, for sure. Don't.
So,
okay, you look like you were about to unleash hellfire of burp into the microphone. I was gonna karate chop you.
What did Amy say?
She was just messaging me on Skype so we could be connected or whatever on Skype.
Okay.
So.
Well.
She was just saying hello, so I said hello back. And she'll be calling us it's 8:49, so she'll just be calling us anytime before 9.
Yeah.
But I just looked down at this first question that you gave me, and it's kind of about the 0.
Oh, yeah, that's hilarious. That's not the first one for you to ask. You can ask that whenever.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I'll word it like that, but...
No, she even... what I read was kind of like an interview, and I think she promotes it, that it just was fitting for her book.
Oh, because it's called The Book of Failures. Yeah.
So she's obviously got a great sense of humor, which is why I wanted to invite her on, because anyone that takes themselves too seriously...
Well, yeah, nobody should ever take themselves too seriously.
I can't deal with you.
And she's from Atlanta. And what if she blows up and becomes huge? Then we
get parts in movies.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm fanning myself with these cards. I don't want it to be on mic.
She could be the next Tina Fey.
Yeah.
Did you see the tweet I posted with the picture of her book and the hashtag that I put that she could be related to you?
No.
From the cover of her book, because she's got the same glasses and definitely look like y'all could be related.
We do, yeah. She does have that Tina Fey look, which is what people say, yeah. Which is why I dressed up like Tina Fey doing Sarah Palin that one year for Halloween.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So when we return, we will be with Amy Lyle.
Yeah.
Look, man. All right, we are back, and we have Amy Vinegar Chemist Lyle.
There you go.
That is a long name. And we're here to talk about her book of Failures. So, welcome.
Thank you. You know, the Amy Vinegar Chemist Lyle part it was just for added drama for the book, but it's just Amy Lyle.
Well, it works, but
easier.
But that is true, because when I was doing our due diligence beforehand, and we bought your book and we listened to it together in the car, actually, on a couple of trips, and loved it. But
thank you.
You can Google if you just Amy Lyle, boom. I mean, it takes you right to, so definitely. Right. I was concerned first, ooh, that's gonna be tough to remember in a Google, but yeah, Amy Lyle works just fine.
So I have a question that just came to me talking about the audiobook. Why didn't you narrate the audiobook? Because your voice, when she first started talking, I thought it was going to be
That's
you.
That's a great question.
We had watched I watched
stand-up
some of the stand-up from the Punchline, but I was like, oh, she narrated it. And then they said the name of the person. I was like, that's not her. But
I tried to narrate it. Obviously, it's expensive to hire someone to narrate it. But telling a story on stage, writing a story, and reading a story are very different. And I couldn't hit it the way I wanted to hit it. Like, if you told me the title of the story, I'd be like, oh, yeah, that story's about this. And I could tell it in an animated way. But then it wouldn't match the words. Mm-hmm. And so I guess I could have done that. Some people do that. It's just, kind of it wouldn't necessarily be a book. It would just be kind of like a comedy thing.
Yeah.
But, so I really tried, and I could not do it as well as Angela Massey, who was, a great actor out of New York, and I thought she sounded great.
Yeah, she did a great job, and it is like it's an art form for sure. Like
I could see your conundrum with that, where you would be maybe biased towards certain stories, not on purpose, but where you wouldn't be able to, if you're telling your own story, of course you're gonna spice up certain ones, and it wouldn't be consistent. So
right, it wouldn't read from the page.
Yeah.
And she was so funny. She added some things in there which are so funny. Look, there's a story about me going to the OBGYN, and the doctor's like, "You're so stressed." I'm like, "You can tell that from my cervix, like from the inside, And she and so she added, like, my doctor is just a white woman, named Mrs. Walsh, Dr. Walsh. But she gave her an Indian flair, which I thought was hilarious. She's like, "I can tell from your cervix you're very, very stressed." And I was like, that just cracked me up. So I'm like, let's keep it, because it was so funny.
Well, and the way she did your friend too, that you.
Well, yeah, I want to ask that. I'll go ahead and jump to that question.
That was Randall's favorite part.
Because I believe was it your friend Sharon?
Yes.
Her character in your book, and this is from me, a man, big strapping, muscular man that's bald-headed. Loved your book.
Thank you.
But her parts to me are maybe the best parts of the whole book.
I get asked about her all the time. Some people think I made her up, or some people think I obviously changed her name. And I was like, no, that's her real name. And she tells everyone, it's so funny. She's like, "I'm Sharon. I'm the Sharon." It's so funny. And she did not want, a lot of your listeners haven't read their book. I have this friend Sharon that calls me, and it's always like, I've missed the first 10 minutes of the conversation. She just jumps in.
Yes.
And she was calling me. I can't believe I'm telling kind of 2 vagina stories in a row. But anyway, she was in the elevator, and she's like, "My vagina's too clean." And I'm like, what? And then meanwhile, and then the next thing she's like ordering a sandwich from Wendy's or something, and then trying to tell me about her, like, "No, you can't take a bath. It's your own filth." And then she just, hangs up on me. I'm like, what? But, when I wrote that and she read the book, I let her read the whole book before I published it. She said, "You cannot put that vagina story in there, because my mother is going to read it and my mother-in-law are going to read it, and they're going to be upset." And I said, "The vagina story goes in, or nothing goes in." And she has such an ego. She's like, "Fine." So she kept it in there. And to your point, everybody asked about her, and it's one of there's 3 or 4 stories, or they're some of the favorite stories I get comments on all the time, because she's really funny.
But if you ever, we'll talk about that more, about your writing of screenplays and things. But I was telling Brooke that if this was ever, if your book was ever made into a movie, or if you wrote one, I know that you've got one that you've pitched, and we'll cover that and how that kind of led to all of your, you call failures, but is awesomeness. Her character would steal the whole movie. If we never saw her,
if she was just on the phone,
just randomly calling, your character or the lead character all the time.
My God, she is going to eat this up when she hears this. You have made her day. Sharon is a character, to your point. I have a screenplay that's in development with an executive producer named Suzanne Derva. But anyway, there's a character in there that is completely 100% based off of Sharon.
Beautiful.
And it's like that helicopter mom type that, like, her kids never get the fair shot, and everything's political and the world is against her. And, she's just hilarious. Like, she calls like a 7-year-old a slut in the film, like, because she's a better breaststroker than her daughter. Her daughter's almost drowning. She doesn't even have daughters, to be honest with you. She has sons, but in the movie, she has a daughter, and she's like drowning, holding on to the lane, marker. And she's just so funny. In the movie, every time she's on, Celine Dion plays, and she's in love with Outlanders. And there's a scene where Celine Dion is playing in the Costco, and she's like on a rowing machine in Costco, and there's like a life-size a figure of Jamie from the Outlanders, and she actually has an orgasm on the rowing machine.
Wow. In the middle of Costco.
In the middle of the Costco. So she just gives me full, of course that didn't happen, but she gives me full reign to.
Oh, sure.
it's so
That's
funny.
funny.
She's such an easy person to write about because she's such a big personality.
Yeah.
Oh, you could do so much with her. I mean,
Shannon.
I'm not trying
Nice.
to steal any thunder here, but and it just jumped out to me immediately. My favorite part was when she called and was talking to you about the salami. Like literally criticizing the salami, like it's already been picked through or whatever she said.
I think that was in the middle of the vagina call,
Yeah,
like
like
talking about.
It was.
Yeah.
Yes, like she's ordering lunch. Wait, no, that was
No, it was
like,
after
well,
the vagina
Wendy's or
call. It
something.
was the next one.
Oh, that was I think her the most eligible bachelor of her high school was marrying a whore.
Yes.
you go, yep.
Yes.
Yeah, and she was like talking to me about the whore and lunch meat at the same time. That is a true story. Like that's a 100% accurate
That's
story.
funny.
Well,
So-
you got a
so
gold
funny.
mine right there. Absolutely.
I know. And she's like, you have to put me in the movie. And I was like, of course I'll put you in the movie. I mean, I didn't even write myself in the movie, but we'll do, I'll give her a funny line or something. I will
Cameo from the real
I owe her
show.
so much. So
Well, and I don't know if you know this, or if you saw the tweet that I put out that I said that you look like you could easily be related to Brooke.
I did. And
Did
something
you-
about the glasses.
Yeah. Did you see the picture? Have you looked by any chance at our, our little icon or whatever they call it?
Well,
for
I'm
our
looking
show?
at Brooke right now on my Skype, and we
Oh,
have
yeah.
the exact same eyewear, probably from
Yep.
Ralph Lauren.
Yeah, those are.
Mine are Gwen Stefani, actually. I just got them this year. They're one of Gwen Stefani's new ones. But yeah, I mean.
super cute. Super cute.
Yes, thank you.
But those glasses, that look, is a very distinct look. So when I saw you, I told Brooke, I was like, oh man, y'all could definitely be related.
Yeah, he said like the Tina Fey look too, which I used to get all the time. Like if I wear my hair up,
I get that. It's so funny. One of my girlfriends, Andrea Ferenchek, this whole project has been such a work of people coming forward and helping me. But anyway, one of my girlfriends is a professional photographer in town, Andrea Ferenchek, and she did 500 photographs for the book cover. We just went and rented space, and she did all these funny different photographs. And I am an actor at my church on Sunday, so they gave me free reign to the prop room. So there's like me in a princess outfit, me in a chicken outfit, me in grape outfit. Like it's they gave me
that was
whatever
in the-
I could borrow it. So anyway, she took those photographs and she put them on a big computer screen the size of like if you were looking at an Amazon book at the bottom, and the books come up in a row, and they're about an inch by an inch. And she put them that size, and we looked at those 500 pictures, and that background, the white background with the red chair with the black glasses, it just really popped. So she helped me pick that out. I didn't realize how important a book cover was until I published a book, but it's pretty important.
Oh, I can't even imagine. Like 500 pictures, that gives me anxiety thinking about having. I would be like, somebody else has to choose it because I will never.
I would just dive into it like I'm sure Amy did and just have fun with it.
Oh yeah, but I'm
With that
saying
many
after they're all
pictures.
taken and having to choose
Oh,
one.
gosh, yes.
For the cover.
Oh, I know.
Like,
She
my
has an
gosh.
eye for that, and I do not. And so she really helped me immensely. And then, now I'm writing a second book called, you guys can help me with this, I hope. It's called The Book of Failures Friends Edition. And people are telling me the funniest stories. I mean, the funniest stories. And so now I got to think about that cover. I got to think about, what am I going to put on that cover? And you don't have to necessarily put a picture of yourself, right? It could be any kind of funny occurrence. So anyway, I'm taking suggestions for that. What should go on the cover of the Book of Failures Friends Edition?
So what are you going to do in that?
Sharon needs to go.
With a big
Well,
salami.
this is a great story. So when I published the book, I started doing on Facebook Friday fails, and every Friday I put a fail. Like one Friday it was I burnt the pasta, and then I had a picture. It's like I didn't burn the pasta in a pan. Like I literally caught the box of pasta on fire.
I've
Got
done
so
that
close to
before,
it.
sitting it too close to the. Yeah.
And then other people would comment, and then I'd say, "How was your week?" And people would comment the funniest things. And like, okay, for example, I'm just going to share this with you. For around the holidays, a girlfriend, she's actually a really good, like a client or something of my husband's. But anyway, her name's Angie Brogan, and she commented it was Christmas time, and I can't remember what my funny fail was, but her funny fail of the week was, I got this Christmas sweater and I wore it to work, and people were like, "That is such a funny, ugly Christmas sweater. Where'd you get it?" And she's like, "It's just a regular sweater."
Oh.
And so, I mean, just like all kinds of funny stories. You know, one girl told me she was really scared of flying. So she'd hit the crown room or whatever before and, you know, take the edge off, and got another drink on the plane. And she's like, "Oh, thank goodness, I'm falling asleep. I'm falling asleep. I'm falling asleep." So she fell asleep, and she woke up, and like the guy next to her, like his forearm was practically like up her nose, like he was, you know, opening the blinds. And so she wakes up and she sees the ground. She's like, "Oh, okay." So she gets her phone out and she calls her husband. She's like, "You can come pick me up." And the guy's like, "We haven't left the tarmac yet." She's just taken like a little disco nap.
Power nap.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She's like,
so stuff like that. Imagine, you know, 50,000 words of just, it's like chicken soup for the soul, you guys. But
It is.
brilliant.
yeah.
No, that is, and you just take them. Do you take them from anybody or just like?
Oh no, I take them from anybody, and I will, like my friend Jessica, she runs a funny blog called Wisconsin Trophy Wife. It's funny because there aren't any Wisconsin Trophy Wives. And so if she gives me a story, I'll credit her and I'll give her a shout out to the blog. Like if you guys gave me a fail, I would just use your real names and I would give your podcast a shout out. You know what I mean? Like contributed by, you know, Brooke from, you know, the podcast. So, you know, Merit AF. So, but some people are like, "You cannot use my name." And so they'll give me a funny alias. So yeah, I'll take them from anyone, and they can,
pretty awesome.
My website's like, www.amylyle.me or, you know, Twitter, Amy Lyle on Twitter.
Yeah. Trust me, I got plenty of fails that it's
People are reluctant to share them. It's
more so. Oh, I am all, yeah. I'm not shy about sharing that kind of thing. And I think it's funny. I mean, you can't take life too seriously.
No, she's not allowed. My wife's not allowed to handle anything dangerous or be around
Or sharp.
any kind of scenario where power tools or lawnmowers.
Oh.
Because we have
Pool in a china shop. Like if you hear a crash.
Oh,
you
she
know,
runs into stuff every night.
For sure,
But-
yes.
She's come out one time. I was cutting our yard, cutting the grass, push mower. Been cutting the grass for an hour. No problems. She just walks out for 1 second to like say hello, and I smoke her with a rock.
Like a rock.
Out of all the space in the world,
Yeah.
she gets pegged with a rock.
I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?"
like
Oh.
20
gosh,
feet
you could have
away.
been killed.
Yeah, it's
He,
ridiculous.
and he stopped the lawnmower. He was like, "Get in the goddamn house!" Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
I'm a
my
magnet
goodness.
for that kind of thing. Like, if we're in the park and people throwing frisbees, nope, I gotta leave because it'll find me when I'm not looking, right in the neck. Like,
Oh my god. Yes, we do. It really is. We are like sisters. We're
Yeah,
like sisters,
kindred
soul
spirits.
sisters because-
Well,
yes, that's
and-
my life.
Speaking of sisters, it's funny because you share something in common with her oldest sister, also from your book.
My oldest sister is in Alta. And
Oh,
she plays
when
tennis
you
in
said that, you
Alta.
threw me off because I thought you were going to say something sad. I lost my sister.
No, I know, no.
But your
no.
older sister's
Yeah.
in Alta. Oh yeah, she could. All Alta players could probably write a whole book about the ridiculousness that goes on in the Atlanta Lawn and Tennis Association.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was dying laughing about the like ladies that were yelling at each other in like Korean or Japanese or whatever. I was like, what were they saying?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny you say that, Brooke, because I was at like a book signing or something recently, and a woman came up. No, it was a book club. I was like a guest at the book club, super fun, and the woman said, "Was that at the Old Atlanta Country Club?" And I said, "It was." And I don't think I put that in the book.
No, you just said
like
a
some
country
stuff I wanna be
club,
secret.
yeah.
And she said, "Do you know that they were Korean and not Japanese?" And I'm like, no, but that
no.
would have been funnier. I don't know why. I just thought that'd be funnier. But I said no because I was so far away. But anyway, she's like, "I was there. I was there when that happened, when that woman clocked the other woman with a cooler." And I was like,
Yeah,
I
that's
know. it's
serious.
crazy.
That is insane.
What
That doesn't happen very often.
what I thought was the coolest part of your description of Alta was the sandwiches sounded mouthwatering. The little sandwiches. I'm a big hungry guy.
If you're
though,
line 5, like I am, I'm kind of a bench warmer. You know, I'm all about the outfits and the sandwiches.
Oh, I would be there for the
That
sandwiches.
sounds like me. Yeah, my sister's uber competitive, so she's probably
Yeah, she's pretty serious with the shit. Like I've heard her discussing it, and she
don't play. Yeah. I'm a
Gosh.
little bit more of a class clown. Beth is like she's gonna win, and then she's gonna
she's gonna
You're
scare
going
you
down.
into making
Yes.
sure that she wins. Yeah, she's pretty
I like
tough.
to win. I mean, winning is better than losing,
for
but
sure.
I won't. I mean, you know, I lose a lot. I'm used to it, so it's but I'm really scrappy. Like I'm not that athletic, but like I will run down. I'll get it back. I might not do anything with it, but it's coming back one more time. So it's fun. I mean, you know, it's good. Get you out of the house, right?
How does that work? Do y'all play like? Is it sectioned off by like neighborhoods or country clubs? How do they do the schedules?
Yeah, it's kind of, you know, geographically organized.
Okay.
So I used to live, you know, on the east side. And so we played, you know, the kind of the same 10 clubs. And now I live on the west side, closer to you guys. And same thing. You just, you know, now we just play kind of the same.
Yeah, she's in Canton, so you've probably seen her around.
Yeah, you may have.
Beth Garrick's.
Oh.
I don't know if that rings a bell.
Is she at that fancy club?
She lives in Woodmont.
Oh, that's very lovely. My friend Ashley Parsons lives
It
there.
is very fancy.
She's probably a higher level than I am.
I would guess she is a pretty high level.
Yeah, she's probably like an A player.
She's
Probably.
a runner, so if that tells you anything.
Yeah, her
runners
and-
are bulldogs.
Wow.
Yeah, her and her whole family. Like she's got 3 boys. They're all
One runs at Troy University. He's a fantastic kid.
Oh,
He's
wow.
doing very well.
and
No,
they're
I don't run.
Yeah, me either.
I know it looks terrible.
I run to get the Doritos, but that's
yeah.
Well, I wanted to get to this. This is the first fan question.
okay.
And
Hit it.
I thought
Hit
it
me.
was a great question. It says, your book starts out discussing the failure of your first marriage. What advice do you have for people in marriages that are miserable?
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot you could do there.
Okay. Well, honestly, I'll give you a personal example because she's asking. I really do feel like when I got divorced, first of all, my first husband asked me for a divorce. He said, I think we should separate. And it was like this weight had lifted from my soul because, you know, I didn't want to get divorced or be divorced and I felt guilty. And so he's like, I think we should separate. And I was like, oh, and I moved out that very second. But, and you know, he's a nice guy and everything. I'm not throwing him under the bus, but I think I can get along with him now and we get along with our daughter. You know, we're both, you know, have her interests at heart always. Is because we really did everything we could before we decided to get a divorce. Does that make sense? So it wasn't like this heated, like, I hate you, I'm moving out. It was years of misery. Years of misery. And so
there's a
by
kid, that
the
usually
8th year
happens.
of misery, you know, it was done. There was no, you know, because I do think the opposite of love is hate, right? And so there's kind of still like, if you hate someone, you have some feelings about them, but he and I are so indifferent towards each other.
Yeah.
Because we don't care. You know what I mean? Like I wish him well, he wishes
just
me well.
Care
So-
about your daughter, like yeah.
Yeah, we share a daughter. I can't believe we're ever married. It's so weird, but
Yeah.
you know, but you know, whatever. I learned a lot, and I like his family, and there were a lot of hard times that we went through that were unexpected that most marriages, frankly, probably couldn't have survived. So I'm not placing blame on anyone, but it was just like a pressure-packed situation. And but anyway, that would be my advice: is really try to do. Is there any saving grace? Is there anything in there? Like if you picture him with another person, does that make you mad? If it does, maybe you still have some feelings there, and you could try to work it out. But if you really can't work it out, then I would try to get your financial affairs in order. And if you're not working, immediately try to get a job and start trying to get some independence so you can separate.
Yeah.
Amen, sister.
That's solid advice.
You know, we've both, like Brooke was saying, we've both been divorced once, and and we talk about it a lot on the show because we have a lot of fan questions that come into us, and that's kind of the end of the day past the profanities and the inappropriateness that we get into a lot at the base of it all. We want to help couples realize you can have fun in your marriage. You can, it can be funny.
I love that.
And
I love that.
crazy.
And it's not all roses, right? It's not,
Right.
I think people fall in love or they follow movie stars or whatever. And it's so false. I got asked to do the speaking engagement for a group of women, and I labeled the speaking, and I'm trying to do a TED Talk, and it's called Why I Shared My Most Mortifying Moments and Why Should You? But like being real is so much more attractive.
Yes.
I think.
100%.
And in a marriage, I mean, not too real. Like, I don't want to know everything. You know what I mean? Like, I want some sense of mystery. But I do think that nothing is perfect. Most marriages are not as good as they seem, or probably not as bad as they seem, or what people say. And there's a lot of downtimes. I don't know if you guys read or if you thought it was funny in the book where I was fighting with my husband.
Yes. And he's like, well, the fun I thought was funny where he started bitching at you for using his razor, and you were like, do you have a lisp? I think you have a lisp.
I'm like, hey, squirrel. I try to throw him off because I don't want to be busted. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, did you go to speech therapy as a child? You kind of have a lisp when you said razor. You said razor.
Yeah.
And he's like, you always do that. You always throw it back to me when it's your fault. And I'm like, just right there. They say your ethics or little fifth. Like, you should get that looked at. And then I just run away.
Oh, yeah. I was like, oh my God, I bet that's infuriating, but it's hysterical.
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, later you can laugh at it. I mean, sometimes
Right.
you're like, you humiliated me in that book by listing all
it's
the reasons
funny.
why you don't want to have sex with me. And I was like, that is not true. That is a collection of excuses from me and my friends. It's not just me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And you said that. I know. I felt bad during that part because we talk about, on our podcast a lot, we talk about our sex life, and yeah, I felt like I was one of those women that you said doesn't exist.
Oh, wow. Oh, lucky you.
I know.
Lucky you.
Well, but here's what I attribute that to is because, you do mention that it's, at the end of the day, you're exhausted from doing everything with the kids and, laundry and cooking dinner and everything. Randall pitches in a lot with all that stuff. And he's smart that way because it benefits him because then, I'm like, hey,
she's still a little frisky at the end of
right.
the night.
And I'm not having to do, cause we both work full time too, but when we're at home, I do a lot with we have a 4-year-old and they're.
I know. And he has a cute little name like Gunner or something.
Yeah, Gunner.
Yeah. So
yeah.
cute.
He's our little man. He is a handful. So I do a lot of stuff with him, but Randall cooks dinner every night, goes to the grocery store, does all that. So it takes something off my plate, and he takes care of a lot of stuff at the house because he works a lot from here. So it benefits him in the end because then I don't feel frustrated because I'm having to do everything.
Yeah, it shows how easy and simple-minded us men are that you can train us to do whatever you'd like if it involves sex.
I know. My husband is like you, Randall. He's so sweet. He does cook. He goes to the he's so sweet. He cooks and I clean up because I think that's fair.
That's how we do it too.
That's the rule.
Yeah.
It's I know. See, I could clean up all day, but I don't like to. I think the problem with cooking is you have to. What do you want to cook?
Exactly.
Deciding what to cook.
That is exactly my problem. I like
I know.
cooking, but
And then
I
you
could never
go to
decide
store.
what I want to cook.
I know. And so I think our stress in that area is we have 4 teenagers.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's
they
gotta be
just
brutal.
suck your
Yes.
soul out.
That is very
Yeah,
true.
we have. I've got a 13-year-old from my first marriage, and we have him every other weekend. He lives in Alabama. That's where I'm from, which I was going to bring into the conversation. Roll Tide. I know you're an Ohio State alum.
Yeah.
And
Sharon's son is going to Alabama.
well,
Really?
see, I feel like me and Sharon.
That is why you love
are
Sharon
destined
so
to be
much.
friends.
You
I just
Right.
love that
You
she's.
can meet Sharon in person if you ever want to.
You can tell her I'm her number one fan.
I will.
I'm very.
Yeah. But you guys you have 4 teenagers in the house, so that is soul sucking. I mean, I can't. When we have one here, I mean, he's here part of the time, and of course, we love having him around. But it's a very different dynamic than having just the 4-year-old, and then the 4-year-old and him. Gunnar just constantly wants to be around him, and he wants to just lock him out of his room and.
Well, I mean, teenagers are
and fart in there.
Teenagers are gross. I mean, you know that they're going through
they're very gross.
Very awkward transition time that is, especially boys. I mean, and I remember it, that you go through a period
So
there where
stinky.
you smell weird, your body's changing every night. You know, who knows what.
We have one son. I think he smells like socks.
Oh,
That's
yes.
I always
Like
say
sweat
corn
socks.
chips or something,
So,
but
yeah,
yes.
like
very
cat-
And
similar.
lawn, because he has a lawn care business. And so, I mean, he cleans up well, but like normally, you know, he comes in from school and then he mows grass because he has a little company.
Aw.
And so he smells like grass and socks.
Yeah, Griffin, he plays football and basketball in middle school, so he smells like corn chips.
Just BO. Yeah. and he's-
Yes. But even if they're good, like it sounds like your kid's perfectly normal and our kids are normal, but they're still.
Oh, sure. They're super clean. I mean, they're definitely, I would imagine both of our ones that we're talking about have proper hygiene and everything, but that is just a hormonal rage
It's just
for a
that
couple
time.
years.
Yeah. Well, and Griffin, you know, he's 13, but he started shaving when he was 11. Like,
Oh, that's a tough thing,
Yeah.
probably.
yeah. So he all of a sudden went from like this little boy to like, okay. And like now at 13, like he could easily pass for like 17. I mean, it's,
Oh my
he's
goodness.
taller than I am.
Big hairy armpits. It's
hair-
gross.
Yeah, I mean, like so much, and he's got like a mustache, and I'm like, what's
Wow.
happening? Why? Yeah.
That's probably he's thinking, what's happening to me?
Oh, I know, right? Like, oh my god.
Yeah, so I totally get it with 4 of those. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
It does. And we disagree so much about how to parent. We are just on opposite scales. So it's so, even though the foundation of what one of us is saying, like if it's a moral issue or whatever, we're on the same page, but the way, you know, to get them to perform the way we want to perform.
The
them,
words that
it's-
come out to tell them to do.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
so different. Like my husband is a lecturer, you know, he's a health consultant. He gets paid to talk to doctors. You know, and I always tell him, I'm like, we're not paying you to talk.
Well, that's
You know
a
what I mean?
perfect segue into a question that I had for you that just kind of piqued my interest. It's more of a statement, but I just thought it was really cool that in your book you actually mention being a Christian. I remember the part of it, and it was done in a very cool way. Wasn't, you know,
Down your throat.
It was funny. It wasn't shoved in your face. It wasn't, you know, like a lot of people are turned off by now. But I thought big kudos to you for mentioning it. We're both Christians. I mean, I'm definitely a sinner all the time. I'm an imperfect, you know, work
I'm like
here.
you. I'm like, I'm a Christian, but I cuss a little.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
I just thought kudos to you for just putting, because a lot of people won't even put that out there anymore.
You know, isn't it a sad world that I
It
had
is.
to take pause? And even my content editor's like, ugh,
That was
about that.
that was my
But-
question. Was that
Yeah,
did you have
I got
any?
pushback.
Yeah.
And I've gotten bad reviews because of it. Like, this is
It's
this guy
ridiculous.
is chick lit, but you're shoving Jesus down my throat. And I'm like,
What?
you didn't
What?
read the chapter properly. I don't shove anything down
No.
anyone's throat. I mean, I'm like, the chapter was about somebody being ridiculed for coming out for being religious. And that's the whole thing was like, it doesn't matter if you're a Buddhist or if you're Jewish or if you're, you know, whatever you are, you shouldn't have to hide that.
No, that's exactly how I took
Yeah.
it.
And then I think I mentioned at the end, I'm like, for me, I think there's something bigger than me. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
for me, I think there's something bigger for me. I think there's a plan for me. So that's kind of how I get by. But I thank you for pointing that out where I felt like I was very careful not to say, and you should do that too.
Right.
That wasn't the point of it.
No, and then the whole part about talking, I mean, like you just mentioned being an actor in your church, there was nothing even about religion in that part. It was just more like about your personality on how you were like, no, I'm going to be the grapes.
No, I
I
just
am the grapes.
you know, I just wanted you to know from us to you that I thought that was really cool. I commend it. I try to, you know, I'm not good enough about it, but
You're
I
gonna
think
get
everybody
hate.
should be able to say that
Yeah.
and not have to worry about putting that out there. Because none of us are going to be perfect.
It's not a Christian book.
No,
you
it's
know
not.
what I mean? It's not. It's a funny memoir.
100%.
That,
It's hilarious.
I admit I would be in a loony bin if I didn't think there was something bigger than me.
Right.
Of course, but you talk about vaginas too, clean vaginas, so it's perfect. No one can say they were having anything shoved down their throat.
It shouldn't be scared to mention something like that because it's funny that you say that the editor was like, yeah, because people are just so weird about it. I mean, it's like
it's not real though. It's fake outrage. People
so
just look for a reason to be mad nowadays.
So silly, especially for something like that that's so tame and like not even like aggressive, like preachy.
It was very well done, but it's more of a commit. You know, I commend you for it because I know that nowadays all the rage really in Hollywood is to be outraged. To do opposite of that.
Yes.
And so kudos to you. I thought that was very well done.
Thank you. I would love to do comedy. Like, I mean, my comedy is just regular comedy. It's pretty clean. I think it's easy. I love a well-placed, F-bomb, especially coming from like a Brooke or me, like we're so clean cut. And then once in a while you throw that out there. I think it's really funny and can be used in a really powerful way. Mm-hmm. But I do think a lot of people lean on it too much. And then it kind of loses it. Like really what you're saying isn't funny. It's just you're cussing a lot and that's funny. Mm-hmm. But, oh shoot, now I forget what I was saying. Oh, I would love to do like a comedy routine, not at the punchline, obviously, but like, in a Christian realm, I'd probably never get invited to do it because of what's in the book. And it's, you know what I mean? Like it's too racy or whatever. But I think there's so many funny things in the Bible. There's so many funny things. Like I was just studying Exodus last year and it was like God losing his temper and Moses is like, just kill me. I can't take it anymore. Just kill me. And then every other paragraph was like, and the Israelites were grumbling. Like it's just, I don't know. It's so funny. And then last night I was watching something with Andy Stanley and it was James and something about somebody being drunk and James actually takes time to write it down, 2,000 years ago, like, I don't think they were drunk because it was 9 a.m. Like that just cracks me up. Like that's in the Bible. Like I don't think they were drunk. It was 9 a.m.
Was it football season?
Have you, what's the name of that show, babe, that Georgia Hardstark did where they
Drunk History.
Yeah, Drunk History, where they have these actors come in and they'll tell like a murder mystery, but they're drinking while they're...
And then there's like reenactments of it happening, but with their voices.
But they reenacted exactly how the actor that's drinking describes it.
Yeah.
And so they're hilarious because the actors that are reliving the scenes, have to mouth exactly what this, inebriated person is saying. And it's just so funny, and you're absolutely right. If someone did that for the Bible, it would be amazing.
I think they do Bible stories in that sometimes too, where they're like, but it's like a drunk person telling the story, and it'll be like Moses sitting there like, and he was like, blah, blah, blah.
It's fantastic.
Like King James version, it was like, cometh to it.
Yes.
And hiccups. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know enough about the Bible to do that. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Me neither.
Yeah. I'm working on it. I think that would be so funny though. I don't know if you guys do this as a couple, but I like doing this with my husband and also my daughter is where you're at a restaurant and like the person, you can see them, but you can't hear them. And you're just like the same thing. Like you're saying, like you're trying to make up what they're saying.
Oh yeah. You like, you put, like people are talking to each other and then you try and put words in their mouth. Yes. Like, I love that.
Absolutely have done that.
You're like,
we do that all the time.
What? Penicillin? Why? Where were you? What were you doing in Cleveland? And now I have to take penicillin, huh? Like, just make up, whatever. It's hilarious.
Insert monologue
improv.
Well, I had a question for you. Is it, and I forget who you say it was, but in your book you mentioned somebody, it's either your mom or your grandma would be mad if they saw you writing out a profanity.
Yes, both.
Is it both? Okay. And so I was wondering if that's you, and you answered it just a minute ago where you said you like a well-placed F-bomb. Mm-hmm. But I was wondering if your stand-up or your screenplays are free of profanity.
My stand-up is free of profanity. My screenplay is not.
Yeah, I don't
because
know
the
how it
woman
could
that
be.
plays the lead is a New Yorker,
Well,
and
there you
so it would be weird to have a New Yorker that didn't have profanity in her everyday language.
It'd be impossible.
I think.
Is
All
this
the New
the-
Yorkers I know.
Is this the screenplay that is where your pitch was like, it's Bridesmaids meets Bad Moms?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which sounds
It's the same
incredible.
one with the Sharon character having the orgasm on the,
Yeah.
on the machine in the
Awesome.
Costco.
Awesome. Yeah, that whole story was funny where you were like, so eager and just anybody that wanted to talk to you, you're immediately pitching it. And then it was like, we're here for a lamp convention.
Oh yeah, at the AFM, yeah, the American Film Market, yeah, that was embarrassing. Was at this fancy hotel, and they came in. They're like, "How'd you do today?" So just assume, yeah. I launched into my whole pitch, and they're like, "We're lamp salesmen." I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Damn it.
Well, so have you
But they loved
gotten
my pitch. I knew it was onto something.
There you go.
Yeah.
The general public.
now? I know that you said that it's actually being worked now. The screenplay.
Yes, I'm allowed to say it's quote in development.
Uh-oh.
That is
Yeah,
fantastic.
that's awesome.
That's so much better than being told, "No, go write a book."
No, yeah, no, you're nobody. You don't have any money. You don't know anyone. Yeah, that was the original thing. But that attorney that told me that when I was trying to get him to represent me, he did give me that advice.
Oh, sure. He didn't have to do that.
I respect him. He's like, he's in the business for 30 years. He knows more than me. He's like, look, you can't just roll into Hollywood, you suburban mom. You need to get on the map. And so it was good advice. And he actually is handling like the paperwork or whatever for my screenplay. So it came full circle.
Wow. That is great to know that that's capped off. Because for people that don't know, for our listeners, that was kind of right. I mean, that is your catalyst for writing this book, right? Was you were trying to get the screenplay looked at, and basically they
I
told
was trying
you.
to get an attorney to represent me. Now you can't. When I say represent me, I literally mean just represent me. Like you have to find your own deal. Right. So you call production companies or studios or whatever, and you pitch, or you go to the AFM and you sell your screenplay, but you need representation. So I didn't want him to sell my screenplay. I wanted him to give me representation, and he wouldn't even represent me, even if I brought him a deal. He wouldn't represent me. And like I said, he's like, you're nobody, you don't have any money, and you don't know anyone. And then I said, that makes me really effing sad. And he said, I'm going to give you some free advice. Get on the map, write a book, write a blog, get that going. And I started writing that day. And I mean, literally in my head, I was like, well, I asked him, I go, well, what should I write a book about? And he goes, write what you effing know. And he hung up. And I was like, and literally in my head, I was like, I have had a lot of failures. Like it just came to me. And so you're right. That's how that happened.
Well, so
Out of a big rejection.
and that makes me think of something I would want to ask personally is, did you get any kind of like, I don't know how to say this properly, but new perspective on your failures or an appreciation for your failures more once you like dove full into this book and kind of could see them in a different light than maybe you did when you just considered them failures? Like now, do you kind of see them as maybe little victories that led you to where you are? Or do you still just consider them failures?
Oh, I live for something to go wrong because it just makes such a good story, and it's not, I don't want anyone hurt or anything.
Sure.
But, what really sunk in for me, and this is such a beautiful thing, is, I wrote this book and it's got, stuff like you mentioned, it's got stuff about getting divorced, getting remarried, not being able to handle stepchildren, getting fired from jobs, pooping my pants. It's like falling down flights of steps, all this stuff. And what's so sweet is when people take time out of their day to email me, or sometimes they put it in a review, which is so beautiful. If you love books, please give them a review. But to have somebody say, I read your book and I feel more normal. I read your book and I feel like, one of my favorite ones is, I read your book and I feel like I suck less as a mother in my life.
Yes.
Well, that's great.
That's exactly.
And those are people who get it. And then other people don't get it. Like they get, probably in hindsight, I shouldn't have put the chapter where my husband bought me a Porsche. He bought me an old Porsche. He bought me an older Porsche, but it was a beautiful Porsche. And then I ended up, that wasn't practical because I have 4 kids. And people were like, you're a douchebag because your husband bought you a Porsche. And I was like, is that the only chapter you read? Like, what about me pooping my pants? You know what I mean? Like, really? All of this is, I don't know. So it was in hindsight, I shouldn't have put that in there, but I just thought it was such a funny story. And then I immediately wrecked the other car right into the garage.
Yeah. I thought it was funny because, but I could kind of feel like, I don't know why, because obviously I'd never met you or anything, but maybe because I'd been listening, kind of felt like I knew you a little. But I could almost feel the uncomfortableness of like, I got a Porsche. This doesn't work, like for the current situation.
Yeah.
And it just didn't.
Exactly.
That's how I take it.
I didn't take it as like you
give a woman
being
that wrecks every single car a Porsche, even a 10-year-old Porsche. Like, you don't give somebody like me nice things.
No, those are definitely killing.
Right.
They are brutal.
Yeah.
They are fast.
I'm like the queen of this is why we don't have nice things.
I don't have nice things.
Randall is too, though. Like, we're both just a disaster. Like, Randall's he just breaks things like the mop.
Strength.
Yeah, like, or he'll just go to like turn on the sink and like rip it off. I'm like, okay, Hulk.
It's the
like,
worst.
Us together.
Our
like,
whole house is distressed furniture. It's like, industrial coffee table that's distressed and everything. And my dad's like, do you need a coffee table? And I'm like, no, like we have to have distressed things because children are distressing to everything. So everything's like slip covered or distressed where you can, all the stuff that kids
where if you
imperfections.
chip it, it doesn't matter. It's already like, that's how our stuff is too. Because I'm always running into stuff and dropping things, and then we have a 4-year-old. So
I'm not replacing it with a 4-year-old here because it's going to be broke again immediately.
Yeah. I know. We have 4 teenagers and 2 dogs.
Oh, you have 2 now?
We have 2 dogs.
We have 2. Yes, we adopted a little rescue puppy. He's so cute. He's the funniest looking dog. He looks like he's definitely got some shepherd in him, giant ears.
Uh-huh.
And then he's all black and a little Labrador retriever face. And then I swear to you, his body is so unproportionate to his legs. It's like, is that corgi?
That's my sister has a dog like that. Yeah,
that's an awesome mix if he is a corgi.
Yeah,
mix.
that's like Molly. That's like Susan. Yeah, my other sister Susan has they call her oh damn it, what do they call her? She's for sure a corgi mix because she's like a God knows what. It's like some kind of spaniel, but she's got those short little legs and it's adorable. But they call her like an Irish something. I don't know, but yeah, yeah, and you still have the lab too. That was your husband's hunting dog that you turned into a sweet baby. Oh yeah,
it's a golden retriever. We saw he's 11.
Yeah, well, see, I was trying because in the book I don't know if you say that he's a golden retriever, but yeah, that's my favorite. Like we just had to put down my golden retriever a couple years ago. She was 14. She was my first child. So yeah, it was like if I like think about it too much, I get very upset still. And it was almost 2 years ago now, babe, wasn't it? I mean,
she's in an urn on the fireplace. She's
on the fireplace. Yeah.
They're such loyal animals. They are such loyal animals. Oh my gosh.
And it's
I just love dogs and Goldens.
Yes, Goldens are the best. Yeah. She literally my first child. And Randall knew that when we got together. Like when the day comes, it's going to be tough. But now we have we have John, our pit bull, and we have a Chihuahua, Emilio, who's Emilio. His name's Emilio Estevez Fowler.
That's nice. I used to have a cat named Mimi Rogers.
He is a mean, nasty shit too.
He's gonna outlive us all just to spite us. He'll be 15 this year, and
oh my god,
yeah, and he's barely skipping a beat.
You would never know.
He can't jump up on the couch anymore. But other than that, it's just and our pit bull is gonna be 9 this year. But he's ever since Breeze, we had to put Breeze down. Like that was like his mom. So he's been like rapidly graying more and like slowing down on purpose. I swear.
It really hurt him when she died because she pretty much raised him. I brought him here when he was a puppy, and for some reason, Breeze, she was such a good dog. I mean, for sure, Goldens are awesome, but she like almost did the potty, taught him the schedule. Like, it wasn't
taught him
even
everything.
human. It was
We barely
the
had to
dog
do
that,
anything,
that
yeah.
taught him. You know, like
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
She was like, "This is how shit works around here."
Yeah.
All right,
Bring
follow
your
me.
ass.
Like,
Oh, we're gonna-
yeah, yeah.
I know when you lose them, it really is like losing a child. I can remember my first husband, we had just got divorced, and we had a golden that was like 13 and started having all this liver failure and all this stuff. So we had to put her down. And I was like crying, like uncontrollable crying. And I was like, this is the worst day of my life.
Oh,
This
for sure.
is the worst day of my life. And he goes, really? We just got divorced. And I was like, yeah, really?
Yeah.
This
still the worst day.
Trumps
yeah,
it.
this is worse than
Sorry, pal.
sorry. This is worse. And he loved that dog too, so I can't believe he didn't think that. But
I know. Well, yes, I'm with you.
and then I know this, like when you put the dog under, because I'd never done that before. She didn't close her eyes, and so
Yeah.
it's kind of like, when is she gonna, go? And they're like, oh, sweetie, she's already gone. And then I was like,
Yeah.
ah! It was,
Yeah, I worked at vet clinics. I was a vet tech for like 9 years, so I was fully
thank
versed on
you.
that part. Yeah,
Did
like
you close Breeze's eyes, or did she close them? I thought she closed them, didn't she? She went to sleep because she was pretty.
well, they put her.
in
Yeah,
bad
they gave her a
shape.
little bit of like anesthesia beforehand to like relax her, and then
I
when they
think
put-
she was nodding off.
and then she went to sleep before they actually put the drug in that
yeah.
put her to sleep. But yeah, their eyes don't close like when people's
well,
don't
she
either.
slept with her eyes open toward the end anyway, and it was freaking me the
Yeah,
fuck out.
because I mean, yeah,
It's freaking. Now John does it, and it horrifies me.
well, yeah, because as they get older, it just kind of like then they get like their eyes sink in a little bit. But she also
So
had that
weird.
she had a big tumor that was like deforming her skull. It was terrible.
yeah,
but
they start getting a lot of that when they
I
get older.
know, but Goldens are still the best. But I'm glad you got a little mutt puppy too.
Oh, he's my babe. We all talk to him like this. He's my babe.
I know. That's how I talk to. That's
My
appropriate.
husband's like, what is happening?
I know.
Well, so when do you expect? Do you have a plan on when you expect to have your book number 2 out? Is there even a plan yet?
There is a plan. So I'm at 25,000 words, and the goal is to have at least 50,000 words, because then through the editing process, you usually lose about 10,000. And so, 40,000 words is a really good number for a book. It's like, 260, 270 pages. And so it's just been harder to get people to come forward with their failures.
Well, so and I don't want to,
I'll send you
trying
some.
to pry or anything, but so would you do you think that this book has done better than you expected, or under delivered?
Yes.
Or
I never thought, I literally was like, I was so naive. I'm like, he wants a book, I'm going to give him a book. And then I started kind of researching self-publishing. I had such a sense of urgency. I did not want to mess with I was reading people, try to get publishers for 10 years or whatever. And so I was like, I'm just going to self-publish this puppy. And I self-published it. I had this huge launch party, not to go back to vaginas, but I have to, because a plastic surgeon friend of mine was the MC, Dr. Mila Bennett, and she gave away a vaginal rejuvenation at the launch party.
That's
and
awesome.
I got press out of that. I mean, because I'm like, hey, come to my launch party. You can have cheese and champagne and get a vaginal rejuvenation. I mean, you don't know.
my brother's
So-
wife did those for a little bit.
You're what?
Jenny, my brother's wife, did that.
Oh yeah, our sister-in-law. She's a doctor, and she did
and
those.
She was offering those at her clinic. That is a real thing. I had
That's
no
a real
idea.
thing. Yeah, and we gave away like a vampire facial, different thing. But so then I didn't know. Then you get a lot of ads. You get a lot of suggestions from Amazon when you publish on Amazon. They're kind of like, hey, use our advertising. Hey, use this. And I didn't really know anything about it. So if there's anyone out there that's thinking about writing a book, you should write a book, and then you should watch all of this guy. His name is Dave Chesson, Chesson. You should watch all of his videos. He offers a complete head-to-toe self-publishing guide, and especially about how important, like, your title, your subtitle, your keywords when you put in your book, kind of how to describing it, because there's 7 million books on Amazon. So good luck having somebody find your book.
Yeah.
So I watched all of those. I kind of became obsessed with it and started to understand the advertising and the keywords, and it's been really fun. And now I have income from it, which was like totally unexpected.
Well, that's awesome.
So that's kind of interesting.
Well, good. That's awesome.
Yeah. And is it true, the story that we heard about your launch party, that it was? I remember I think I read one of the interviews you did where you said you had your big, like, it was a super nice launch party and you sold 0 books, and it just reaffirmed your title.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying because it kind of reaffirmed your title. I thought it was perfectly hilarious.
Yes, I had this giant. Okay, also, if you're having a launch party, do not have a launch party at a country club, because Prosecco at Costco is $13 and Prosecco at a country club is $35. So don't do that. But anyway, I had this launch party, giant, expensive launch party. I don't know what I was thinking, to be honest with you. I was like, go big or go home. I don't know. It was a marvelous experience. We had all these women speakers talking about changing their life after 40, and it was just amazing. But anyway, so I wanted to do, I did bring some hard copy books, but I really wanted to do an ebook push. And so it's because the reason why is because 1, 2, 3, when you buy it puts you, if you had 333 women buying a book at the same time, your book would be number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Because Amazon changes the rankings every 2 hours. And so I was like, 1, 2, 3, and they crashed the internet, and I didn't sell any books.
Oh, no.
But I sold like 500 the next day, and then 500 the next day after that. And then, it's been steady ever since. This is so weird. I mean, you have to understand, I come from a very small town in Ohio, and, my mom with 4 kids living in the burbs, and to see my book, the ebook, next to David Sedaris, next to, on any given day, it's been in the top 20 since it came out a year ago. Sometimes it's number 5, sometimes it's number 8. I think today it was number 19, like, you never know. To see my book next to, like, Amy Poehler, Amy Schumer, Tina Fey, Jenny Lawson,
that's pretty surreal,
David Sedaris. I mean, it's weird. I mean, it's just like they have like 20,000 reviews and I have, 167. But it's great. I mean, it's never been a greater time for self-published writers. You can compete with the biggest. You can compete with Random House in an ebook.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we decided to do, a podcast. We were like, it's shit. Anybody can do it. You get the stuff and get out there and have
and you start getting a following and you start
mm-hmm.
making money. And why not? It's such a great. And you meet you get to meet like interesting people and sex therapists and all kinds of people.
Absolutely. So, do you mind giving your all of your social media stuff out that you want people to be able to access and where they can go to find you? And we'll also retweet out all this information after.
Oh, sure. Thank you. I would love it if people have a funny fail, airplane fail, coworker. I've got the funniest coworker fails ever. Everybody has a crazy coworker. Marriage fails, children fails, dating fails, a lot of funny dating fails. But anyway, but if people want to reach out to me, it's the website is www.amylyle.me. I'm not a narcissist.com was taken, so that has to be done. And my Twitter is Amy Lyle, and Facebook page is amylyle.me, just to keep it the same. And then my Instagram, I think, is author Amy Lyle.
Awesome.
And they can buy the book at Amazon. I think they can get it on Barnes & Noble too, but it's...
And on Audible, which is where I get all my books, because I don't read.
And on Audible, so it's paperback or ebook or Audible. It was just on sale, and now it's on sale. And I've never put it on sale, but Amazon sends you... once in a while, they'll say, hey, do you mind if we put your book on sale for, the month of May or whatever? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yes. And then they promote it for you. And
nice.
It's kind of nice.
Well,
awesome.
We would love to go ahead and tell you that you are welcome to come back when you do your next book or anything, anytime you would like.
Oh, I hope so. This was so fun. You made me feel, I feel like, well, we are neighbors, but I really feel like we're neighbors.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
And we're best friends now.
You're so nice to me on Twitter. And that's like, sometimes social media, I feel like, is this working at all? You know what I mean? Like, really, you feel like you put so much effort into it, and you're like,
is this
have
thing
I sold
on?
9 books? I've done 10,000 tweets. But then stuff like this pops up where you get an opportunity that I would not have gotten the opportunity if I had not been on Twitter.
100%. I hated Twitter until we started this.
Yep,
I was anti-Twitter.
Sure,
now I'm almost a junkie.
yeah.
I know, and you guys are in a whole big community. I noticed of I like that about your industry of podcasters. You all support each other, and I love that. And the same thing for me as a writer. And I don't know if you found this to be true, but I bet it would be true. I've reached out, like one of my mentors. I feel like her name is Paula Hausman. She's a really funny writer. She lives in Australia. And I reached out to her, direct message on Twitter. And when I first started publishing, I was like, what about this? What about this? And she's like, you need to try this app and you need to get this website. And she just poured out to me. And I was like, this is amazing. And so, of course I try to do that for other people, but that was the Twitter content. Like I liked her book, and I felt, the worst thing she can say is not answer me, right? So why not ask?
Yeah, that's been the same thing with the podcast community. Like as soon as we started, on Facebook and on Twitter, it's been nuts. It was something that I totally did not expect, and I was like, oh, this is like a whole community that is like that just came out of nowhere. Now we have all these new friends that just have helped us tremendously with audio and just everything you could imagine for podcasting. It's been amazing.
Because we knew absolutely nothing. We started our first episode so terrible. We didn't know what we were doing, and we still don't. But people are so nice, and when they see that you're genuinely trying, everyone's been super great to us. It's not like a competitive thing. Everybody knows that people are going to listen to whatever they want to, and they can listen to multiple things, so it's not like you're competing against each other for that one listener. People can listen to, I've got a ton of podcasts that I listen to, but
I do too. And what's so cool about podcasts as being a guest? This is what's so cool about being a podcast guest. Okay, the podcasts that I like, for example, today I was walking my dogs. I just listened to your podcast one after another, right? I listen to one, then listen to another one. And so as a guest, that's what happens. If you're in someone's podcast and somebody else likes the podcast, they'll eventually get to your interview.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's not like it's a flash in time and then you're gone forever, like a Twitter post.
Like on the radio.
Like if somebody likes and subscribes to your podcast, they'll probably eventually get to your interview. And so it's like there's this residual return.
I never thought of it. You're absolutely right though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really an amazing tool to get your story out, and you never know who's listening. It's just so fun. And just like you said, like there's enough people in the world, like your podcast is a certain topic and theme. And then, I listen to, TED Talks, or I listen to Super Soul Sundays, or I listen to some, comedians, but don't you think podcasts have changed the world? Like do not fold laundry or walk my dog or eat breakfast without listening to a podcast now.
Yeah, I'm listening to them all day in the car and at work, at my desk, like all day. It's a whole new world with that kind of
it really becomes,
content.
When you get into podcasts, we brought my brother. He didn't listen to podcasts, and he started listening to them when we put out this show.
We had to tell him where to go on his iPhone.
Now he's like a junkie of podcasts, and he'd be the first to tell you. It's like feels like you're hanging out with your friends. Once you've got into a show and kind of found some that fit with your your style of whatever, whether it's comedy or true crime or whatever. Just kind of, for me, it's part of my day. Like I've got it's like having a chat with a friend, but I'm just not talking when I'm listening to
me too. And I mix it up. Like, I'll listen to something, very soul searching and like, oh, I have greater appreciation for the birds, and then I'll listen to some raunchy comedy.
Yes. Oh, me too.
I keep balance. I like balance of my podcast.
I flip flop usually between comedy stuff and true crime because I like a lot of murder stuff. Like I'm super.
I do too. I like true crime. My
yeah.
dad's a junkie of true crime.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I think we probably on several of our episodes I recommend lots of them. And there's one of them where we interview Jamie Rice, who's the host of Murderish.
It's a great podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
nice.
But that's usually what I juggle between. I'm like, all right, lots of murder and death, and then like comedy and dick jokes. Like
that's called balance.
Yeah, I'm like, I gotta like make sure I'm not getting too dark, and then like.
Yeah, you got to bring it back up. And then I love the way, just on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, but especially on Twitter, that you start to have a community where I noticed that other podcasts retweeted your stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You retweet their stuff. And it's very generous.
Yeah, that's the whole like community feeling that it was like, oh, this is really cool. Like it was just something I didn't expect. And once I was like, okay, makes sense. Totally. But yeah, I mean, and
it goes back to a point that you made, Amy, that I think is important. We're an indie podcast, they would call. And, people that do stuff and produce stuff on their own and kind of learn as they go, man, they tend to stick together, even whether they blow up or not. Like, just the struggle is real together.
Yeah.
I know. I feel like that. And I feel like it's going to come back tenfold. You just keep doing it and you have passion for something that you like. And I don't, it's like, I don't know where all of this is going to lead. My husband's like, could you please monetize this on a higher scale? Yeah. But I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, hopefully my movie will make money. I just got, speaking of Twitter, somebody, cast me in a movie short.
Nice.
Cast me in a movie short from seeing me on social media, who lives in Atlanta, Sam Jurgens, a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And, that came from social media. And, it's like, I showed up. I was like, I'm going to bring the coffee. I'm going to be the nicest. I'm not really a great actress, but I'm the nicest person you ever met in your whole life. I'll do this take 400 times. But like my whole goal, the same for doing an interview or whatever, is like, that person's nice. That person's genuine. That person's authentic. That person's a hard worker. And, I think, like you said, we all have appreciation for that. Like we're all just starting out and we're trying to make our mark or help other people. And it's so, our intentions are so honorable. I feel like it's going to pay off eventually.
Yeah. It just makes me sad a little bit when I think about it, because if you look at Twitter, I'll use that as an example. You think everyone's so nice that's within our community of podcasters. And so you get used to that. Like, it doesn't matter what you put out. If you're a podcaster in our group of friends, and they call it Podern Family. It's kind of a hashtag that encapsulates.
Yes, I saw that.
It doesn't matter what you put out. It could be utter dog shit. You're going to get cheerleaders and like, hey, you'll get better, this, that, or the other. But other social medias, you get used to that, and then you go to the people that are your real friends, and they shit all over everything. Like on Facebook, everything's, people will be hating.
Go read my book reviews. It's like, 90% of them are positive and 10% are like, I hate you and I want to kill your family.
Yeah, that kind of stuff just kills me. Like,
it drives me nuts.
Why even take the time? Like, what's the purpose of saying
I don't know.
something
And
like
it used to really hurt my feelings, as you can imagine, because my whole intention was to lift people up, especially women. Like, hey, we're all trying to do the best we can. We're all struggling. And you know what? Let's be honest about it and laugh about it and move on. Get up one more day. Really? Like, it's not a how-to. Like, I start out as a failure. I still am a failure. I just get up one more day. But, and so at first it hurt my feelings, but now it doesn't. I feel sorry for them. I'm like, really? Like, your life is so bad. It just, I don't know. It hurts my heart.
Yeah.
It actually, I feel sorry for them. I'm like, oh my gosh, you were in such a terrible place in your life.
And that's the appropriate reaction, I think, too. Like, that's exactly how because clearly their life is so terrible that.
Well, we got our first bad review a while back after, I don't know, it might have been after episode
that means you've made it.
That's what I said. I was like, we have a hater.
And they were like, they just gave us like, the minimum, like 1 star. And they were like, just a couple of uneducated Republicans.
Oh gosh.
And we were like, for one, we've never mentioned our political party, our political preferences ever.
Yeah.
We try to stay away from politics just because
it's because we were talking about guns.
Street.
It was right after we were talking about
it probably was me talking about guns. I mean, I'm definitely a fan of
that's exactly
guns.
what it was. I mean, but it was just so funny, like, okay.
Yeah, but if that makes
in one view that doesn't match up, it's sad that someone takes, you know what I mean? It is.
Right.
It's a sad, like, you disagree in one area, and that's the whole point of podcasts or normally books. It's like, okay, we've got some differences, but can we take one step closer to each other? Like, we got a lot.
Right, sure.
Agree
It's
on a lot of other things.
Overall thing, yeah.
Like I'm in a real mixed crowd politically, and to be frank with you, we're both kind of like we both want the economy to be great, and we both don't want to ruin the environment. Like, we can agree, we both want nice schools. Yeah. It's like we're not too far apart on anything. It's so funny. Okay, I'm going to give you the words of my friend Jessica from Wisconsin Trophy Wife. When I was practically crying, and I emailed her. I'm like, look at this mean review. The woman's name was Margaret Poole. If you're listening, Margaret Poole. Margaret Poole gave me this terrible, she hammered me.
Damn you, Margaret.
So I sent Jessica this email like, I'm so sad. And she goes, and then the woman kept sending me emails. And and I was like, why is she still sending me emails? Like, what? She doesn't have anything better to do in the day? Like, okay, you hate the book, move on with your life, return it. And she's like, oh gosh, it's a famous saying, but she said it was so funny. She sent me this meme, and it was like, hate me once something, but keep following me. You're a fan, bitch.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Like,
that's the truth.
It just made me giggle.
Even if you take the time to put like a bad review, like, move the fuck on. Like, just
like
keep moving. But if you keep
for appreciation, like, I actually wrote an article about this, about bad reviews, about I don't like every actor and I don't like every singer. And I certainly don't like every book, but even though I don't like to put negativity in the world. So I would never, ever, ever write somebody a nasty review. I would just choose not to write anything at all.
Right.
I would never give somebody a nasty review, but, you know what? People are allowed to say what they want. Like, you don't know how you caught them during that day, and you don't know what's going on in their lives. Mm-hmm. And so they have the right to say what they want to say. And you know what? It doesn't change us. It doesn't change you or me or our intentions or our hearts. And you just have to move on because it's not you. It's them.
It's them.
It's them. Yeah.
Yep.
I just think people could move a lot more toward the center and realize that, just like you said, everyone agrees on much more than they disagree in this country. Way more than they realize or are willing to admit. Most of us agree on 75% of the shit. Mm-hmm. And nobody will just move toward acknowledging that, People want to be so separate
polarizing
nowadays, and it's unfortunate, but it is nice when we got into this podcasting community that it wasn't a big dump fest. It's been amazing. So,
well, good. I hope it keeps growing, and anything I can do to help you out. And I will take you up on your offer of when my next book comes out or my movie comes out. I'm going to be like, can we talk about that?
Absolutely. For sure. That's
and then
exciting.
when Sharon is in town, we'll all go to dinner.
Sharon is always in town, available for lunches. Let me know. She would be over the moon that you are asking about her. And she's even funnier and more over the top in person. She's so funny.
It. And our son's going to Alabama, so that's like the like telekinesis way that Randall knew he loved her.
Yes, he's so excited. Her son's a really good student. He's a sweet boy.
Oh,
well, he picked a good school. He's a smart young man.
He's thrilled. They just got back, I think, from orientation, right? And it's a beautiful school. My youngest daughter Anna is like, it's so beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
So
it is.
I'm like, Hope Scholarship. You got to stay in state. Big old scholarship there.
Yeah, Tuscaloosa is beautiful because they got tons of money from all the football money. Yeah,
old money.
Yeah. Old money.
Ohio State's no slouch. They got a ton of money too. That is a big.
And I think they have any old money.
Ohio State's got old money.
That would be nice to have a little money. But.
That's
Well,
true.
we really appreciate you coming on. This has been awesome, and we loved your book. And
Thank you.
We can't wait to see what happens with your screenplay, and we will be pulling for you. Us locals, we'll support you any way we can.
Thank you. Right back at you. Anything I can do to help you, I would love to help you. And thank you guys. This was really fun. Thank you for making me feel so comfortable.
Oh, well, you're welcome anytime. We really appreciate it, Amy.
All right. Have a good night, you guys.
You too.
Thanks.
Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that was a good time.
That was.
I really enjoyed her.
Absolutely. That was fun. She's so sweet.
She's super sweet. God, our luck just continues with the awesome guests.
I know.
She's fantastic. I'm pulling for her in every way.
I know. Yeah.
I can't pick out a thing I didn't like about her. Damn it.
She's awesome. Yeah. She already messaged me. She's so sweet.
She's so funny. And you can tell she's got I can only imagine her screenplay is great. I can see her mind and her comedy
I know.
would be even more awesome in her description of like scenes and for a movie. I'm totally sold.
I know. Yeah, that's exciting that it's already in development. I mean, I know a lot of those things, like it's a cutthroat game, those kind of productions. So even to get in development is
huge.
Is huge. So that's
she's
very
a workhorse,
exciting.
though. That's a testament to her. She's just an example of will, of making the shit happen.
She's gonna hustle. I mean, you can tell that she's got that like veracity. Like she's gonna make shit happen. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I enjoyed the shit out of it. So
nice.
Make sure you guys look for her book. If you want a good, fun read, or if you want a good audio book for a trip.
Yeah.
Amy Lyle, Book of Failures.
Book of Failures. Yep, it has a woman that looks
like
similar,
Tina Fey.
Like Tina Fey.
Or Brooke.
Or like me.
Without the tattoos.
Oh, yeah, because it's like a sleeveless. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me minus the tattoos on the front of the book. But yeah, it's fun. She's awesome. We gotta meet Sharon now.
Oh yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm almost ready to book Sharon just to come on the show. And I love the fact that Amy knows that that's a gold mine and has used it in her screenplay. Like obviously, it's clear that was a hit
for sure.
The Sharon part.
Yeah.
But as soon as I asked, she was like, oh, "God, everyone loves Sharon."
Because it's hysterical.
It is hysterical.
And I don't know if it's, I mean, like the way the girl read it too. And it sounded a lot like the way Amy was doing it too, where she was like, what? Like,
oh yeah, she did great. The lady that narrates the book's fantastic.
Yeah. Like she almost sounds just like Amy, but yeah. I mean, like it was just so funny. Like, she like the accent with Sharon, like my vagina's too clean.
Well, so we hope you guys enjoy it.
Yep.
And you can find her at her Twitter is at Amy Lyle, Lyle. So follow her, and she even gives out information on sending her your fails. Yeah. If you want to get in her book, she's offering you free promotion.
We're definitely doing that. I mean, how many fail? I want to send her the bungee cord fail.
There's millions, yes.
There's so many for Brooke Fowler. It's not
One
even.
of them will get picked.
Yeah, I need to just like send her a whole encyclopedia of Brooke Fowler.
But all of our podcast friends have to have great podcast fails.
Yeah.
So send them in to her. Help her out.
She could have a whole chapter of podcast fails.
And she'll give you full credit in the book. So fuck, man.
Yeah,
it's a win-win for everybody if you got some fails.
Heck yeah.
Send them her way, and she will take it from there.
Yeah.
So that's it for me. That was a great episode. I enjoyed the shit out of it.
That was. Yeah, it's time for bed, baby.
Yep. All right. Well, let's get out of here, and we'll talk to you dicks later. Go fuck yourself.
Later.